Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and here is another tutorial for Project Spark. And today I've been working on a game mechanic that will put arrows in your world to show the player where they need to go once they've collected a quest. So let's show you what I've built. I've used the standard quest assemblies for this. So she says, "Hello adventurer, would you be so kind to help?" Yes, I will. Press B. Find an apple. Look for an apple hanging from a large tree, and as you can see, some arrows have appeared on this path, so I'll follow the path, and more arrows are appearing as I'm walking down here, and it's telling me to go this way, and yep, I can see the apple. I'll go collect it, and the arrows have now turned the other way, and they're pointing me back to the hungry peasant. Here we go. Back to the quest giver. Did you find the apple? Yes, I did. Press B. Here's your reward. She's thrown me a coin, and all the arrows have disappeared. And before, if you looked at the object's number, it was 96, and now it's 78. So all of those arrows, and now it's 77. All of the arrows and the logic cube have now been destroyed. So we've reduced the prop count. Now there's another quest giver over there, but let's have a look and see how this one works first. Okay, so we have a quest giver and we have some arrows. Now these have been placed all the way along that path. They're all exactly the same. I've just copied and pasted, stamped them into my world after creating the first one. You don't have to have as many as these. You could maybe just have them at junctions to show the way, and you don't have to have them as arrows. They can be anything you like. Some little dots maybe might be a nice way of doing it, but it's really up to you. So inside each of these arrows I've got this. It says hologram. That makes it white. And once logic cube arrows object set incremented by me. Now if you're not familiar with an object set, all it is really is a list. This is listing all of the arrows. We're just incrementing by me, just adding this arrow, this particular arrow, to the list of arrows. And this is all housed in a logic cube, and this is the logic cube here. And it says, okay, well, first of all, we're putting its position to be the same as our player, so that it will move along the path with the player as he's moving, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, for each of any of the arrows in that list, make their visibility equal false, so make them invisible, unless the Boolean show equals true, and then in which case for each of the arrows in the list, objects closer than 10 meters will make the visibility to true, so they'll appear in the world. And you can see as you moved along the path they were becoming visible or not visible depending on how far away from the player they were. This is why we've set our logic cube to be the position of our woodland peasant, because we want to follow it down the path. And then if return equals true, then we'll turn the arrows 180 degrees so that they're facing the other direction. And that's it for the logic cube. Everything else is in the quest giver. Now this is a standard quest giver brain. Page 1 is we're not interested in, because this is when she's saying, do you want to help me? But we get to page 2. This is when the quest becomes active, when you've pressed B and said yes, I'll do it. We'll then send the Boolean show to be true in that logic cube. So that's going to turn all the close arrows visibility to true. And when the player has picked up the apple, inventory contains the apple, we're going to then set that return also to be true, so that they'll face the correct direction. And then on page 3, this is where your quest is complete. Once she's thrown the coin at you and everything's good, we'll then destroy all of those arrows and the logic cube. So we've gone through each of the arrows, we've destroyed them, and then we've destroyed the cube as well, because we don't need them anymore, and let's take those props out of the world. And that's it. That's a very simple way of doing a route, an arrowed route for your player. Okay, let's look at the other method. So we'll ignore you and your apple quest, and let's go for this one over here. Goblins are coming. Would you defeat them? Okay, press B. Good luck, she says. And an arrow is shot out of her, and it's gone this way. And if I follow it, if I stop, it stops. If I move, it moves, and it's following this path. So obviously I don't need to go that way. I need to go this way. And it's taking me through a clearing. And yep, here are the goblins. And you see the arrow has moved out of the way, so I've got plenty of room to fight these goblins. Now then, now where do I have to go? Right, well I'll collect my arrow. Yep, it's going off this way. And it's saying I need to follow it, so I'm going to follow it. And it's going back down the path the way I came. But it could just as easily go anywhere you like. So maybe your quest giver has moved on to some other place. Did you kill all the goblins? Yes, I did. Thank you so much. Here's your reward. And my arrow stopped spinning and it's done. So let's have a look at that. Now I've used paths. Now paths are a pain in the backside, but they get a bit complicated. But this is a pretty simple way of using a path, and I'm hoping that you'll be okay with my explanation of this. Because it doesn't get complicated. Now, if you're not familiar with paths, here is a path here. There's a cube and two little points, 0 and 1. Now, if you select that 1 with your right trigger, you can move that 1 around. So the 0 is where it's going to start from, and the 1 is the first waypoint. And if you place it, it gives you another one. So you place it with your right trigger, it gives you another one, and you can place that, and it gives you another one, and you place that, etc. until you've got to the end, like that. And there's your path. Now the settings for these are quite important. So let's go into the settings for the path. So let's look at path 1. Path 1 is the route to the clearing. And we'll just have a look at its settings. Path 1, settings, properties. Path. Right, it says back and forth. You could actually set that to once because it's only going to do it once. Starting waypoint is 0. And we don't need to worry about any of this. Path type is curved because the path is curved, so we don't want straight lines. It will be straight lines when you put it down, but then we press curve and it will make it nice and smooth. Orientation is 2D. That means the arrow will face the same direction all the way down the path. And movement is linear, or we could change that to smooth. There we go. Path 1 is now smooth. It just follows down that path. So let's just see what that has done to change, if anything is done. I don't think it's going to make much difference. It should be exactly the same as it was before. So B, goblins are coming. Good luck, she says. And there's my arrow. And now it's moving down the path. Exactly the same as it was before. Now if I go backwards like this, there are still some goblins left. She's not very happy about that. So let's go back to our arrow and it will move along the path. Okay. And it's the same, exactly the same setup for path 2, except of course you're starting it here and you're moving it around till you get back to the quest giver. So it's the same thing with the same settings, except in the opposite direction. Okay, so here you can see here is our arrow. Again, you can have that as anything you like. I mean, it might be nice. Let me try something. I'm going to swap the mesh for. I'm going to swap the mesh for a desert sparrow. Let's see what that does. Actually, this might be interesting. So, she says, "Goblins coming. Good luck." And a bird has flown out, and that bird is now flying down that path. Doesn't that look cool? I like that a lot. There we go. So we've got a bird instead of an arrow. He's gone and sat over there. Look. And we can go take it down the path. Now let's see what happens if we go down the path without killing our goblins. There are still some goblins left. She's not very happy with us. We've lost our bird now. He's not going to go back down this path, but that's okay. We know where we're going. We kill our goblins and everything will be fine. Okay, so let's have a look at the brain, which is now in our bird. Okay, there's a few. Right, so hologram. That's the same as the last one. When the quest giver's boolean quest accept is true, and you detect the player, then move on the path 1 at speed 1. Path 1 is our route into the clearing. When you detect the glued object, now that's that stone that I've got there. Now, I tried it with when path complete, but it didn't work. So I've ignored that now, and I've just got an object there that once the path, which is right next to the end of the path. You could use a logic cube if you don't want an actual physical object that people can see there, but I happen to have a stone in the world already, so I thought I'd use that. So then path 2 equals true, and we'll destroy path 1 because we don't need it anymore. And then quest giver, if goblins are dead, so if you've got back to the quest giver and you didn't bother following the path, or path 2 is true. So if you didn't get to the glued object, but you still killed the goblins because you didn't follow the path. Let's say you went to the goblins without following the path. So if they're dead or you followed the path, then the position of our now bird will be, I put it at the goblin spawning position. You can put it anywhere you like. You can put another logic cube there where you want your arrow to move to come back, and we'll turn the angle to 180 degrees, which will turn it around the right way so it's facing the right way on the path. And when you detect the player, then you'll move on path 2 now, and when the quest giver's quest is over, then we'll destroy the bird. So it's all clean and tidy and destroyed. It's gone, and that is it. That is it. And in our quest giver brain, again, page 1, nothing on here, nothing to worry about. Page 2 will say once the quest accept equals true, this is on the quest active, and we'll create our desert sparrow. I didn't mention this is a templated object, so select templated to make this a templated object. It will go pink. So we can create our sparrow, and once the goblins are alive equals to 0, then our goblins are dead equals true. And again down here it does it again, goblins alive equals 0, goblins dead equals true. So that's set those booleans. This is the quest complete page. Once you've thrown the coin, we'll say quest over equals true, and that will destroy our bird. And there's nothing for page 4 at all. We don't need to do anything to that. And that's it. And that's our 2 methods for creating a path with an arrow on it. And I hope you have a go at that and put that in a game. Thank you for watching, and keep sparking.